So first question is, what motivated you to buy Grand Lodge on Peak South?
My husband started skiing at 65, and we came up here to look for the best place for him to enjoy his skiing.
What motivated you to start skiing at the age of 65?
I had taught in Boulder for over 30 years, and needless to say, there's a lot of skiing out of Boulder. Most of my students skied, and I always felt I can't afford it, it's not for me. But I put in the back of my head that I wanted to ski. So my son-in-law took me to buy all my equipment one summer, and I went up the next fall and took a one-day lesson at Eldora, and the instructor said, I think you're going to like to do this, buy a season pass. So $219 for a senior, I skied 25 times that year. And one of them was on my birthday, January 4th, Pam brought me up here to Breckenridge. I was scared to death. That's the big slope. I haven't done that on my first year, but I skied 4 hours that day up here.
Why Breckenridge out of all the places you could have bought? I know that you came
Truthfully,
up here, but why Breckenridge?
we got one of those letters in the mail that said for $39 we'll give you a ski pass, a spa pass, and 2 nights at the Breck Inn. It was just too good a deal to pass up when he hadn't skied anywhere but Eldora. So it was a promotion that brought us up here. We met Bob Gibbs, who sold us Grand Timber that day.
Now I'm assuming when you guys came up, you had no intention of buying whatsoever.
No, we already
You
had a
wanted the
timeshare.
promotional package.
Yes,
What changed during the presentation?
he liked it.
Yeah, and the other factor that I think was at play during that time too, I have a nephew who was teaching ski lessons up here. I was aware of that he was up here at Breckenridge and liked it and was teaching ski lessons.
All right, can you guys start by saying we had no intention of buying?
We
when
had
came up,
no
and
intention of buying. I am tired of salesmen. I don't like used cars, insurance salesmen. I don't like any of them, and I figured that's what this promotion was. I detest sales talks. We already owned a timeshare that he bought against my better judgment that we never stayed in and only ever exchanged. He loved the skiing up here. We went over to look at the place, and he really liked it. He really wanted to come back here and ski. Well, if he's going to come back here and ski, I don't want to sit at home because I'm not going to ski. So it was a nice place to come and stay. So we bought. That help?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah,
That's the truth.
What got
yeah.
you
No,
over,
we always want the truth like that.
What got you over the perception of the used car salesman?
Bob's got a really good sense of humor, and he accepted mine because occasionally I say off-color things, and he was ready to deal with it. And I think he realized that Bill was very enthused about the skiing part, and I was very lazy and wanted a good place to read a book. And he could provide both.
Did he provide you with any benefits during
During that first one,
Yeah, during the.
the promotional thing gave Bill a day of skiing and gave me a spa pass. But every time we've come back, they've always had something as owners when you come back. This time Bill got 2 free skid tickets and you bought 2, right? But
Right.
for a really discounted rate that they're out of now.
Can I just go back to one question, which really amazes me? You ended up purchasing your ski equipment before knowing how to ski.
Right.
What possessed you to do that? That was a leap of faith.
I guess it was a leap of faith to buy equipment before you ever skied. And then the guy that taught me that day said, do it. He somehow thought I would, and I did. It went 25 times, as I said a minute ago. The next year, so I was skiing in February, and a girl hit me from behind and broke my fibula, broke her leg, and put me out for 2 months. And that was a little scary. And so my doctor finally one day said, your leg is healed, you can ski again. So the next week is when I took 3 people that I teach with in Montbello up here to ski. I mean, I hadn't skied for 2 months. And they're in their 20s, and we came up, and first of all, the one person said, I'm going to take you to the Blacks. I said, yeah, right, I'm a second-year skier, I don't know what I'm doing. I got to trust in you. And so Rachel said, you just follow me. Well, we didn't do Blacks, we went on Peak 8, but we did some blues. She said, just follow me. So I just followed her down the hill. We skied 2 or 3 runs, and I said, you know what, guys? You ski as long as you want. You can have a day, but I haven't skied for 2 months, and I got to quit. I'm going to just knock it off for the rest of the day.
But driving up and back, he had a parking place. He had a place to go to park at Grand Timber. He didn't have to go look for parking. And the real leap of faith was our son-in-law was moving to Colorado to ski with him. And he got an offer from Google to go to work in Pittsburgh. They live in Pittsburgh. That's how he got abandoned with all this ski equipment.
Well, why did you trust us?
Bob drove us over here. Literally, I mean, he said, don't take your car because it's really muddy. We were staying at Grand Timber. No building had been started. And he explained that the skiing was literally walk out the door. Because when you go to Grand Timber, you know, you got to go down that path and hope you find the place. And when he explained all this and showed us the drawings, and truthfully, I think because he had done everything he had said he would do when we bought the first place, that it was kind of a leap of faith with him that he was really telling us the truth, and it was. So it was okay.
Why did you choose to upgrade to Grand Lodge?
That?
Grand Lodge.
No, that's why we chose to upgrade. Because it's really nice. These guys come up, meet him yesterday. They came up the gondola. He's standing right here. And they skied. Then we met him for lunch. And
Why did you?
Okay. Good again.
Why Breckenridge though? Out of all the other mountains you could have bought, why did you choose? Because you came up for a promotional package. You could have walked away saying, "I just want to think about it," and left. But you didn't, and you chose Breckenridge for a reason, and Grand Timber for a reason.
Okay,
Why?
in terms of why we would choose Breckenridge over other ski places, we've lived in Colorado 40 years. So we know a little bit about the area. And for example, Vail is not a city. Vail's not a town. There's no character. That's where we had our other place. This has it. Actually, I guess it was my second year, my son and a friend took me up to Copper. It's fake. There's no town, there's no place. I mean, I'm not impressed with Copper. So maybe that's part of the answer, I don't know.
I love it.
well, I think I'm a history teacher. Breckenridge has a history. Vail doesn't have a history. Copper doesn't have a history. There really are people that live here. It's a real community. So when you come in the winter, you come in the summer, the spring, and the fall. There's things to do besides just ski. A lot of shopping.
Yeah.
And there's
Being a history teacher, what history was important to you? What do you like most about the history here?
Well, I grew up in South Dakota in the Black Hills with the mining, so I had a pretty good idea what kind of mining was going on up here. And when I first taught in Boulder, I taught a semester of local history to the 9th grade kids in my school, and we did all these. It was a private school, so they could drive them back and forth, and we came and brought the kids in the mountains and went to Golden to the Coors and did all the local history stuff because they were kids from out of state. I think it's important that we have a history because so much of Colorado is new, and so this works here. It's a good thing this town didn't die, although it nearly did.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get into.
Step up the way you're walking away.
What?
You moved away.
I know.
Okay.
Half step back.
Yeah, that's what it.
You too, Bill.
There
Okay.
you go. Good. Excellent.
How did you guys justify the buying decision? I mean, why did you choose to get into ownership instead of just running your vacations one at a time?
I think we chose the price, the buying, from our past experience having had a timeshare that we utilized a lot. So we knew how they work. And Pam's very good at making them work. So we went to Paris, for example, to see our daughter after she spent a year there at the Sorbonne. We used it for that one, and it worked. And so I guess we knew a little bit that it could work.
I think we also chose to buy because it's a forced vacation. If you own, you can't ignore it. You've just wasted your money. And I think for a lot of people, putting off is really easy. And so if you own something and you go look at it and you think, God, I paid that much money now. If I'm just going to let it sit there empty for a week, it's really stupid.
Pam knows me. She knows I'm a putter-offer, and she's the smart one.
So
Who says,
it was a
"Hey,
way to force him to
get
really
into
to get it going.
You'll either ski there or you can trade it, but you're going to be doing
Yeah.
some vacationing.
What would you tell people coming up on a presentation that would say, I want to think about it, I want to procrastinate? That's what they're really telling us.
Well, they're really saying no.
If they
If you don't want to come back, then say no and walk away. If you realize the benefits of being here in one place, in a room that's got enough for you to spread out, not just 2 beds, which is what you're going to get if you rent a motel room. And it's not fun for a week to be stuck with 2 beds. You want to spread out, you want a little space, you want a bathroom that, you know, you can move in. If you're going to think about it, walk away, because you're not going to do it and you're not going to use it. It's something you're either going to do or not.
What motivated you to buy and add to your ownership portfolio? Why did you choose to do that?
We didn't add to. They took that one away from us and put it on here. They
The
don't.
Vail one?
That
Yes.
too.
We took that one too?
What
Yeah.
a lot of us.
Too?
And
Right.
don't. Bob says to just stop telling people that.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
took it all.
a lot of Bob had a lot to do, I think, with what convinced us to make our deal, because we reached a point we weren't that happy with the
Vail.
Vail one, and he got rid of it for us. And he also exchanged the first one we had done here, the Grand Timber. So I mean, those two factors sealed this deal for us. And I realize they're not available anymore. You can't do that. You can't get rid of the previous ones, but they certainly helped in our decision.
Has Grand Lodge exceeded your expectation of ownership?
Yeah. In fact, yesterday we went up and bought a fixed week instead of a floating one, because hopefully he'll retire and we won't just have to come for spring break. So we even updated. He spent some more money yesterday.
Grand Lodge is by far not one of the cheaper timeshares out there.
Right.
It just isn't.
Yeah, but you get what you pay for. That, if you want to buy one at Lake Okoboji in Iowa, you're going to pay a lot less. Do you want to spend a week at Lake Okoboji in Iowa? Nobody much does. You get what you pay for.
How did you justify the purchase of this one? In your mind, how did you justify that when you were looking
When we
at
spent the money to buy here, it was the one way I knew I could force him to not work for a week, to leave home, come up here, relax, and ski.
And then this is not your question, but it's related to yesterday's decision when we discovered that our purchase has increased $15,000 just since we did it less than 2 years ago. And I mean, I'm quite convinced, knowing the world. I don't know the world. I'm not a world traveler, but I think there's a value in this place, in this piece of property.
Especially with them building more ski runs over here, that they're not going to be able to put any commercial property in. When you realize this is going to be the closest to that, if you ever want to ski there.
what I'm looking for, what I think you're trying to say, is the purchase was beyond the money, or something beyond the money that drove us to do it. I'm trying to get what that was.
Well, part of the purchase price is convenience. You park underneath and you leave your car sit there. There's a shuttle to take you everywhere you want to go. So you don't have to drive around and find parking when it's snowing or whatever. None of that. It's the convenience of putting your skis on and going skiing, and not trying to find some way to get to a ski lift when you've parked in a parking lot and you're trying to go through the mud in your ski boots, and you watch people do it all the time, everywhere. This is just easy.
Has this enhanced the way that you guys vacation, and if so, how?
Well, this has enhanced our vacationing in the sense that that's why we're here right now, this week. I mean,
Before, when spring break came up as a teacher, he'd stay home and work for a week, and then we'd try to find a summer vacation. Now he actually takes one at spring break. It's such a good idea.
If you didn't own this, what would be different?
We'd be home in Broomfield.
If we didn't own, I'm
In
trying to
here.
go, if we didn't own,
Answer is-
probably would be vacationing this way, and then whatever else.
just repeat his
Yeah.
question.
If we didn't own something, a timeshare or here, we'd be home. And he'd be going to Eldora a couple of times this week. Is that what you want?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
That is
sure,
the truth.
whatever,
Yeah.
If you did, well, but see, more importantly, if you did, it's the time that the two of you are also spending together. I guess that's what I'm trying to get as well. It's the skiing, yes, but it's the time that you guys just get away from everything else, get away from the rat race. It's just the quality time that the two of you get together, right?
Okay, we bought this so we could get away from where we live, our grandchildren that live around here, and the people we don't like that are our neighbors. It's a great place to come and just do nothing together, I guess.
Yeah, and we do enjoy each other's company. We enjoy each other's
Sometimes.
time. And so, I mean, even in all the other skiing I've done too, half the time she'll be sleeping in while I'm skiing and I'll be back. So it's not like the skiing kills all of our potential time here. I mean, there's a lot else. We can go downtown. We've used the facilities here in terms of the
That
hot
grotto's
tub.
really cool.
Yeah. So there are a lot of other aspects to
Tell
it,
me
isn't
more
it?
about the grotto.
It is.
There's no kids. You know, I have grandchildren. I have children of my own, but you go to the swimming pool here, it's loud, it's noisy. There's children, which is where they should be. That grotto doesn't let anyone in under 21. It's quiet, and I don't think anybody in this place knows it's here. There's 3 of us in there the other day, period. We just sat there for about an hour. It was quiet, it was calm, it was wonderful.
What did you get from that hour? What benefit?
Peace and relaxation.
Well, the benefit of the
Yeah.
hour
Just-
was peace and
It
relaxation.
was quiet and it
yeah,
was
just simply.
it was nice. It's really nice down there. They need to push that. No, maybe they don't.
A lot of our owners have said that they turn things off when they're on vacation. They get unplugged. Is that you?
Well, as far as getting unplugged for vacation, Pam could answer it better because I'm kind of a workaholic. I've never vacationed much, really, over my life. I'm still teaching after 47 years of teaching. So she can answer the point about what's needed to get me unplugged.
He slept later than 5 o'clock this morning. It is relaxing. It is relaxing because you can sit in your room and you can have snacks. You can go out to eat, and with the restaurant on the premises, it's nice. It's a lot easier here than it was over at Grand Timber. It's more convenient with this restaurant being right in the facility. So yeah, it's very relaxing.
Do you think being a workaholic, do you think there's health benefits to a forced vacation?
Hopefully there should be health benefits to vacationing. It's hard for me to transition out of work, but I know that there are benefits. I think I can make it work because besides skiing, I've run for 45 years and I'll keep doing that. I work out, I'll keep doing that. So I'll have other things that'll keep me going. Is this mine?
Yeah, that's.
Guaranteed has changed, and you told me earlier that your children, son was it, that moved out to Pittsburgh,
No, our
Son-in-law.
son-in-law's in
Son-in-law.
Pittsburgh, and our daughter. Mhm.
and your daughter. Now them being out in Pittsburgh, could you share with me about them using your timeshare, coming in as a family, and the benefits that has for you and them?
Our daughter and son-in-law and 2 grandchildren live in Pittsburgh. He works for a big company out there, and she's a professor at a university. They have 2 little kids, 4 and 6. He loves to ski. They're coming out in August. We want to bring them up to look at this place. Hopefully we can get them to come up for their next spring break vacation out of Pittsburgh. It provides a lot for families. It provides a lot for people without families, but it provides a lot if you've got little kids that you can do with them too, without interfering with the people that don't have little kids and don't want them around.
Mark went to CU and skied in this area, and when Google took him to Vermont to ski this past year, he said, forget it, that's not skiing.
So, looking ahead, what do you plan on doing with your ownership in the future?
We just bought for the future, we bought a fixed week so that we don't have to deal with the floating weeks and making the phone call, so that every year, if Bill wants to, he can come up and ski. At this point, we're not dumping it into interval because we've already got a whole bunch of weeks dumped into interval we haven't used yet. So right now, I think it's set up for a ski week.
Great. Let's talk about exchanging. You guys have exchanged quite a bit over the years.
Yeah.
Talk about some of those experiences. What have you done?
We had a timeshare at Vail, which we never ever stayed there. We bought it to exchange. The first exchanges we did, our daughter went to school in Paris for a year, and at the end of her year we wanted to go to Paris, and it's expensive. So we got 2 apartment houses in Paris so we could stay. And I think it cost $39 for the exchange, which is pretty darn cheap in Paris. And then we've exchanged it. Both our kids used it for their honeymoons.
Right.
We went to Utah. We've used it all over. I'm trying to think. It's really easy to do. We even went to Maine, which was the worst interval exchange ever. They sent us to this lovely lodge, and when I got back and called them and said we left early, they said, you should have called us if it was bad. We'd have rerouted you somewhere. It was a hunting lodge, and it was cigars and bourbon. Oh, it was awful. It's easy to do because if they don't have something when you call, they put you on a wait list, and they might call you like 20 minutes before you get on an airplane and say, we've got a place for you in Paris. They're just really easy to deal with.
has the exchange network exceeded your expectations in itself?
Yeah, because I never thought of I had never been to Europe when I used it the first time, and never thought about
Let me have
staying.
you just state the question. The
Oh,
exchange
okay.
network exceeded our expectations.
International Interval Exchange exceeded our expectations. Having never been to Europe and had never thought about what you were going to stay in when you got to a city like Paris, finding out what hotels cost over there, and finding out that you could really take a week that you weren't going to use somewhere, Vail, and give it to them to give to somebody that wanted to go to Vail, and they would find you an apartment house to stay in for $39.
And in terms of future use, we did go to Paris and the British Isles, including Ireland, which I'm 100% Irish, so that was kind of fun. We did that one. We did the Scandinavian countries in St. Petersburg. We did a trip 2 years ago. We went from Bucharest to Amsterdam. So quite an extensive trip. But we haven't seen everything we may want to see. We haven't been to Italy. We didn't want to do it in the summer. If I get retired, we can find a better time this summer to do it. We haven't been to Spain. We haven't been to Greece. So there's some future ideas that this exchange could provide.
And all of those were tours that we went on. And now that you've been on a tour of Norway, you know you can go back and have an exchange and stay there because Norway is really easy to stay in, or Sweden or Denmark, not the Ukraine. But it's easy once you've been on a tour to see where you want to go back.
Have you gotten the value out of your ownership? I mean, when you look at all the exchanges you've done and the experiences you've had, have you gotten the financial value out of it?
In terms of value out of an ownership, we would probably answer it differently in the sense that I'm always looking kind of straight at the money, and it's hard to put a direct value on the dollar put out for what you receive from something. Pam, I think, would say, you bet, because you wouldn't have even traveled. You wouldn't have done anything. Look at these life experiences that have come from this, and you can't put a total dollar value in all of that.
And I think the thing that you forget when you exchange is you're not going to a hotel room. You're going to a place where you can sit and you can visit after you've toured around for a day. You can eat in your room. You don't have to go to restaurants. It's a lot less expensive if you've got some place where you can do that. If you want to spend 2 weeks in Paris in a hotel, you're talking thousands just in housing. If you exchange, you're talking so much less in housing and a ton less in food. Their restaurants are very expensive. They're good. They're very expensive.
What other activities or what else have you been able to do with your money because you didn't have to pay for the lodging? What is it?
No, my knees are getting tired from standing still so long.
Yeah, I got you. My legs going up. I got a sciatic nerve issue.
What else have we been able to do with our money?
Afford you to do? Yeah, because you don't have to put it into lodging. That's paid for. So what have you been able to enjoy doing in these vacations that you might otherwise have not done? No?
We lived in Boulder and sold our house for full value and bought a new house. And so when we want to go out to eat, we can go out to a nicer place than Burger King.
Yeah,
I don't know if
perfect.
this does.
Okay.
There are
Why
some
don't
nice
you
restaurants.
Why don't you talk about one of your most memorable vacation experiences that you had with timeshare?
I think one of our most memorable experiences was St. Petersburg.
But that wasn't a timeshare. We did that on a tour.
Okay.
I think the most memorable timeshare experience that we had was when we exchanged to go to Paris, and they called at the last minute and said, we found you a place. We got there, our daughter met us at the airport, took us by cab to this place. It was a hotel apartment house owned by Italians. So when these Italians wanted to come to Paris, they'd have a place to stay. They spoke no English, they spoke no French, we spoke no Italian. It was fascinating. We all got along fine. They kept doing things like, and it was just great. And we went into this place, and I know because she had faxed me something quickly to show us where we were going, that there was a kitchen. And we walked in and we all sat down. We thought, okay, it says there's a kitchen. And we pulled up the shade, and there was a kitchen behind it, about this big. It was really fun. It was just And the next week we moved to a French apartment that real French people lived in, and they're tiny, tiny. We don't realize how old these are. They're above stores, and just living like the French lived and shopping at the stores, not being on the tourist track, was fascinating.
But having the exchange that we had there allowed us then to enjoy Paris and to really have some money to do the trip, you know, to really have the experience.
Because we weren't living with Americans. We were actually living with the French or the Italians.
I'm going to switch back to something, Bill, that you said. You've had friends come up and you guys all went skiing, you know, and they got to see what you own. How did that make you feel, being able to have your friends ski with you up here?
Well, having my friends ski with me is awesome, really, because I said at the start, I started skiing 3 years ago. I still am learning skiing. I had the injury the second year that scared me a little bit of who's going to come down the hill and hit me. So I skied up here the first day on my own, just a couple days ago, and I was a little bit intimidated by the steep hill, the last one when you come down here. That bothered me enough that I just kind of freaked me out. I thought, now I got this place, what am I going to do? So yesterday, Colonel Meeson, who's one of my friends, who was a ski instructor in the Army as well as a great skier, we went up. And the very first, he said, let me watch you. I just went probably 10 feet down the hill, and he said, Bill, you got to do this. Lift your ski you're not on. That's all it took. I had a fabulous day. All the skiing came back, I had a great, nothing intimidated me. I could hop on and do it again. So that was a direct one. And the other guy I also teach with, he's a boarder, so he was boarding with. The camaraderie, we'd ski a little ways down the hill, stop, talk for 10 or 15 minutes, and ski a little more. It's everything. I've done a lot of skiing alone, and I'm getting so I like it less and less. I really like skiing with somebody.
No, it'll be me.
What?
You're fine. You can
say
stay
to
up close.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
What,
they keep
what would
coming
you
closer
say to
you.
somebody that's considering ownership?
I'd rather add on tape.
You know, what would you share with them? If they should buy or not?
That's the 5th time I've done that.
For somebody that's considering ownership, I think they have to be realistic about their vacation plans and what they want to do. There are people who want to go someplace different all the time, and I don't know why, because it's so nice to come back to convenience. To know when you get here there's a shuttle, to know when you get here there's a swimming pool, know when you get here there's something comfortable to stay at. I think it's really important for somebody that's deciding to buy or not to decide if they want one place or they have to go hobnobbing around all the time. Yeah.
And I think if a potential owner wants to ski, which I would think should be a key part of why people would come to a place like this is great skiing. I mean, you're not going to match it very much any other place, so take that if nothing else.
How's the staff been, Grand Timber Grand Lodge? Have they been?
The staff here, I think, is very friendly and very service-oriented. I mean, I've seen that at this day and at the timber too.
I know.
I think they're especially open and accommodating.
They don't bug you. They don't get in your way.
Don't get in your way.
But the shuttle drivers know more than some of the other people do because they take everybody and they hear them talk, so they know all the right restaurants. The shuttle drivers can tell you everything. They're the best source of information for everything around here.
How about ease of use? Has it been easy to take advantage of the benefits of your property?
I think there is an ease of use here, no question. I mean, you just walk down the hall to eat, so that's easy. You mentioned the spa. I mean, yeah, I think it's very set up to be extremely accommodating and easy to use.
One of the advantages, everything's got the same key, so you're not having to deal with a whole bunch of, a ring of keys to go to the spa and to go to here and to go to you just, if this passes, it's pretty easy to get in and out of everywhere.
How about reserving your time? Has it worked for you over the years?
Well, we had a flex week, okay? And you have to call so many months in advance. At this day, that's like 6 months, I think it was, in advance. And you can call up and they warn you. You call that day and everybody else that has the same flex week that wants spring break week is gonna be on the phone. So I took my phone, I programmed in the number, I got up at 8 o'clock, I pushed the number, she answered the phone, and 3 minutes later I hung up and we had the week.
Great.
That easy. That's always been that easy. I know people that don't follow the rules have trouble getting their week, because we heard about it yesterday. But it is easy. It's really easy. And if you have questions, you call that 800 number, and there's always somebody there to answer you.
So you've used our 800 numbers?
Yeah.
We have internal exchange.
They haven't used us for training though.
No,
They only use Bill for
Oh,
training.
just
Yeah.
okay.
because we've still got so much dumped in from, I don't know. I keep calling Interval and saying, aren't we done yet? And they keep saying, no, you have more weeks.
So what are the future plans with your ownership?
For here or the training?
For here. What are your future plans?
I think our future plans at the moment, based on our decision yesterday to upgrade where we can just, what is it, week 9, is that the one we bought into? Is to just go with it. I mean, the comfort of saying we don't have to change a lot, we don't have to worry about, are we going to get in this year? I think we're pretty set on that. And then the fact that we have a son with his family and a daughter with her family, both of which at some point will be able to come and use it with us. And then down the road, way down the road, it could become theirs.
Any regrets?
I don't really have any regrets at this point on
Creating a legacy for your children? What do you mean about it becoming theirs?
Well, you
Sure.
can will this to them just like a house.
Okay.
So that proves there's a financial benefit to having it, because you really, when you die, you don't lose, it's not gone. It's still here. And now with the week we have the same apartment every year forever. And when we're dead, they get the same week too.
Is it in your estate now that
Yes.
you think they'll benefit from it?
Yeah, we put it in our will the last time we did it.
So vacations for the kids as well forever?
it. Sure.
Yeah.
And
I-
their kids possibly.
Here's hoping. Yeah.
Was that at all in the decision-making process by your children, or was it more just for the two of you?
I think it was not. I think our decision here included our kids in mind. It wasn't only just for us. I think we knew, and I think it's related to Mark, who got me set up into skiing for one thing in itself too. You know, that we had that in our mind.
Yeah, because he does want to come back to Colorado to ski. He just can't ski on the East Coast, I guess.
Doesn't like it.
So this is, needless to say, this is not an ad for the East Coast. Or for Michigan, where I'm from, which would be even worse.
It's for Breckenridge.
It's for Breckenridge.
I think that's one of the reasons we chose Breckenridge, is because it is family. This is a more family-oriented place than Aspen or Vale.
Yeah, it's a family town.
Real people.
Real people is right.
Right?